for homework, I'll get them to do a values inventory. So I get them to do their core life values and their work values separately.
Yeah.
This is really interesting because when I first started, very naively, I used to say to them, okay, take away and I give them an inventory. I say it's not exhaustive, you know, don't be confined to that list, whatever you think is important. Bring it back next week, you know. And after a while in doing coaching, I realised that people actually need time. A lot of people need a lot of time to reflect on their values, unless they're people that have done that sort of work before, but most people haven't. Most people, you ask anybody on the street, do you know what your values are? Not many people can tell you. And so most people that come for coaching, they've never, ever in their life stopped to think about what's important to me, who am I? So for me, particularly the personal coaching, the executive coaching I do values too, but the personal coaching even more, it's around not just setting a goal and striving, it's a sense of self work. So for me, the goals come out of, we start with the values, you know, who am I, what's important to me, we go to the fuzzy vision. So after they've come back with their values, which sometimes I say to them, give yourself some time, you know, put the list aside, meditate on it, keep coming back to it. So, you know, we will still progress in our sessions, but until you can really feel those values, and I say to clients, you will know when they feel right to you, you'll know. So which is why I keep recommending meditate on them, go away, do these feel right for me. And then the letter from the future, so I'll usually get them to do the values, the letter from the future, which is, you're familiar with it, your future self writing to yourself now, 5 to 10 years time, what would life look like? How would your life look if you were fully living those values, if those values were fully being lived? What would it look like? And try to keep it as fuzzy as possible, not too specific. And people struggle with that because they want to say that they're living, you know, in a certain area and married to a certain person, but I try to encourage them to keep it as fuzzy as possible. So for me, the first parts of coaching are the values and the visioning, and that might take a couple of weeks. Again, depending on the person, I'll probably get them to do the VIA, the strengths inventory as well. Once we've got the values and the vision, then we set the shorter term goals, the SMART goals, and there might be 1 or 2 that work towards the fuzzy vision. And then it starts to get more into that momentum of, I guess, the coaching. So for me, the coaching is very much more a bit slower at the beginning, and I'll say to my clients, sometimes it feels a little bit slow, like, and I know you're here and you want to, you know, you want to move forward, and I guess I try to give them a sense that we are making progress, but I reiterate to them how important it is to spend that time up front, because if you get your goals right, you know, then you're right, like you're living authentically, you're setting authentic goals. So I usually say to them, and it's, as I said, I've learned from experience, people rush goals. I mean, I did too in the early stages. If you've got the benefit of time, and I know you don't always do, particularly in executive coaching, it's better to take your time with the values and the visioning, and then set your goals out of that.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Right.
You know, whereas in executive coaching, I might be brought in, I've got 6 sessions over the next 6 months. So in that case, then there might be a specific goal that they've come along with. We'll start working on that goal. I'll still get them to do their values for their homework and look at linking their values so that the goal becomes meaningful. Or sometimes we do rethink the goals along the way because they're not congruent with values.
Yeah. So what happens? These things, is that homework assignments and you follow up, or is it something you do in the sessions?
I do quite a bit of homework, so again, we call it field work sometimes. People don't like the use of the word homework, or tasks, you know, action tasks. So again, yeah, normally before they come, I do life balance wheel, satisfaction with life. Then I get them to do their values, the work values, their core life values. And usually that after they've done that, the next session is just spent talking through their values.
Okay.
And because it takes time, because you'll actually ask them, well, what does success say mean to you? Because that can mean different things to different people. And then I spend time saying to them, okay, so you've said success is important to you. If you're going to rate out of 5, where 5 5 out of 5 is your life completely reflects that that's an important value to you, what rating would you give it now? Or say family or health. And so some people, particularly when you look at family or health for executives, they're saying, oh yeah, it's really important, it's in my top 5, but at the moment 3 out of 5, I'm not really living that value. And so again, with people that are really dissatisfied on that satisfaction with life scale, you'll usually find that they rating really low on how well they're living their values. Right. So I'll say to them, well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because you're telling me, on this hand, you're telling me that these things are really important to you, and then you're telling me that you're not living it, your life's not reflecting it, and you're wondering why you're feeling dissatisfied. And they go, yeah, right. And then I'll say, well, now we're going to start to look at what would life look like if you were fully living those values. And we'll use something like the letter from the future. And even though that's 5 years, we usually say 5 to 10 years, I'll say to them, that doesn't mean you can put off living your values right now. Like, what's something you can do this week? What would be one tiny little thing, say, for health? So it might be just even looking at their time. We do a lot of lifetime tabling as well, looking at their life, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
right.
Through to Sunday. And I get them to put in what are their commitments, so it might be work or family responsibilities, and then I get them, say, for even all of my clients, I get them to put in exercise regime, because I think you can't leave it out, so I get them to put in 3 sessions a week of where they're going to exercise. So it might be just even drawing up their lifetime table this week and looking at where would 3 40-minute sessions fit in, if, say, health was an important value. And what could you do this week to start? Or it might be drinking more water or buying a pedometer. So, and when people feel like they are taking action around their values, they start to feel better immediately. Yeah. So yes, we're looking, it might take some time to be rating 5 out of 5 on some of these values. Say for authenticity, that's another one that people will often say is really important, and they might rate lowly on that. That one might take a little bit more time, but again, I usually try to get some hits on the board quickly, because as I said, it can feel a bit clunky up front when it's slow, even though I say to them, it's important. And I usually say, as the coach, my job is to sit with the uncertainty and to sit with your anxiety. I know you don't like it, but it's my job to sit with it, because in the long run, you're going to be happy. Because what people do is when they're sitting with discomfort, they rush. So they'll make decisions really quickly about relationships or jobs, or I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and they're not always the best decisions. So I usually use the bridges transition model. Say to them, you're coming out of an ending, we're going to work on a new beginning, but in the meantime, we're sitting in the neutral zone, and I know it's not pleasant, but I'm sitting with you, and it's my job to sit with you in that uncertainty, where we start to systematically look, and this is the coaching, because normally, as I said, people rush into things, or things fall in their lap. Like, I have many clients that say to me, this is the first time I've ever really thoughtfully looked at what are the pathways into the future. And so for me, coaching is about sitting in that uncertainty while we systematically look at potential pathways to the fuzzy vision, and then we work through which is going to be the best pathway for me. So when people do make a decision around career or relationships, which are the 2 big ones usually, they feel like they're making the best possible decision they've ever made, because they've systematically looked at all the potential pathways. And what we do is, with those pathways, we look for the one that aligns most to their values and uses their strengths most, and is aligned to their vision. And you're set. You feel good when you're living your values, you've got an inspirational fuzzy vision, and you're using your strengths.
Yeah, so everything's aligned.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.